For Thaddeus Ross, he found the situation to be rather ironic. There was a point in time, long ago, when if you would have asked him, should he become the President of the United States of America, he would have puffed up his chest and would have declared that he was the only man right for the job. After all, Ross had come from a family, a lineage of individuals who served in the Army, who served in the United States military and had great success throughout their careers. So of course, Ross would believe that someone of his pedigree would be best suited for the position. But Ross had now gained life experience. The highs and the lows and everything else that came in between. And eventually you get to a point where you're sick of it all. Originally, he had no intentions on running. He didn't really care one way or the other. He was content to stay in retirement. The only reason why he was called out was because it was a favor to someone that he owed. And unfortunately, the person calling in that favor was due to the massive screw-up on their part. And the alternative was having Wilson Fisk run for president. So, Ross ran on a campaign of wanting to bring stability to the country. Now, there was a time of unease in the world, especially after the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything that came along with it. Because of that, the world always felt like it was on the brink, as if there was something that was going to finally pop that balloon and was going to bring out all unbridled war. Under Ross, the Thunderbolt Act would be put into effect, as well as the Superhuman Registration Act. Not like there were many metahumans in the United States, not like how there used to be, but for the ones that remained, to anyone out there that had a talent or some ability, Ross collected them. He had help in that regard, and thus the team of the Thunderbolts were made. From then on, Ross began building up defensive measures, and he was one of the few presidents that was actually able to be cordial with Yujiro Hanma. Of course, that was given the history that the two men had together. The history of Ross chasing after Yujiro all around the world. Although for Yujiro, this was nothing more but a game to him. After all, it wasn't like Ross was ever going to bring him down. And the old man came close a few times. Oh yes, Ross, he was a stickler. He truly was one of the last sons of bitches left on this earth. Someone who understood the old way of doing things. So, in a way, it was kind of comforting for Yujiro to get to work with him again. Although now, it was Ross who had to keep the peace. And of course, there were other things he had to deal with. Between the other divisions that were made to monitor various groups and activities, domestic and abroad, Ross found himself at wit's end, and he was only in his first term. Due to some of the lax in rules and regulations that had now come through the last few administrations, it was now abolished that any president could only serve for one term. Of course, you would wonder why a rule of this magnitude would even be changed. But, given the dire state of the world, if there was anyone who could provide any stability for the nation, they wanted to keep that person in the seat of office for as long as they could. Of course, Ross understood the dangers of this sort of thinking, knowing that in time, perhaps long after him, someone else would come along who would try to abuse that system. But for now, Ross would take advantage, but he hoped to rectify that by the time it was all said and done. As he had gotten out of yet another war meeting, he found himself going for a walk. It was one of the few things he did that could bring him relative peace. It was times like this that he liked to think about his late wife and daughter. He still remembered them fondly. No point in bringing it up. It was old news. As he took a seat on the bench, another man would sit next to him. A man that was much older, dressed in black, wearing a fedora and sporting an eye patch on his left eye. "Having a good day, Mr. President," the man would say. "You got a lot of nerve showing yourself around here." "Well, from what I hear, nerve is in short supply. Don't try and get smart with me, Fury. The only reason that I don't slap a pair of handcuffs on you and have you locked up in the lowest depths of the raft is because you still prove to be useful to the United States. But trust and believe, the second that you don't provide any useful information or any useful service to us, I know. I tell you that I'm sorry all the time, but I know that it'll never be enough. Enough! You dragged me back into this freak show, damn it! I was retired. I just wanted to spend my last good years in peace. But no, you just had to go and let your whole little shield operation get blown up in the smoke. Now the people have no confidence, no trust. Those freaks that you tried to keep under control and under wraps, now I'm left to deal with them. You know, you promised me. You promised you'd be able to deal with Hanma. I spent so much time. Do you know how much I lost, Fury? How much has been taken from me? And yet I still find myself fighting this fight every day. It's not for the faint of heart, Fury said. I know that this hasn't been easy for you, and I know that I haven't made it easy for you. And for that, I am truly sorry. What are you doing here? I came here to bring you the usual, to let you know what's going on, and to tell you of my recent reports and findings. The great Nicholas Fury, reduced to hiding in the shadows. I was always in the shadows. I prefer it that way. But now I'm nobody. I'm just the man on the wall. As much as I hate to admit it, you do a damn good job of that, Ross would say. After Fury had lost S.H.I.E.L.D., there wasn't much left for him to do in this world. There wasn't really anywhere else for him to go. After all, he was a wanted criminal in almost every country. He was viewed as a social pariah, if you will. In fact, if Ross was even seen just communicating with him, it would damage his look and presidency all in one. But someone was going to be taking care of that. Ross didn't even flinch as Doc Samson would arrive, smashing his hands on Fury's head. You would think that at that moment there would be a squishing of blood and brain matter, but no, it was just mechanical bits and bolts. Life model decoy, huh? I figured as much. You know, Ross would say, you could have ended up killing him. And it would have been my civic duty, sir. No offense, but you know you can't be seen with him, right? even if he provides you useful information for whatever that's worth these days. Yeah. But now I've got to make through all of this, Ross said, handing a stack of papers to Sampson. Put it on my desk and I'll take a look at it. So, has the boy made any progress yet? You're talking about Baki. So far, he's just waiting for his next opponent. As for Yujiro, we last traced his movements. He had left the UK, and he was now making his efforts towards the West, moving more specifically towards Russia. What exactly does he have waiting for him in Russia? It's hard to say, sir, but you never know with Yujiro. He does everything he wants on a whim, so perhaps he has his own reasons for traveling to that area. Well, have you given them any warning? We have, sir, and the Winter Guard are standing on the front, but if I'm being honest, the Winter Guard wouldn't really be able to put up much of a fight against him. So for now, the only thing they can do is play on the defense and just pray that whatever damage he brings will only be kept to a minimum. I see. And what process have you made on finding the other Hanma? Yes. Our findings last show that Jack was making his way to South America. For whatever reason we can't fully detect, although he has been seen fighting in local fight competitions from here and there. Just seems like it's a way for him to earn money or so, but he's not in league with his father or younger brother in any way. If we could bring him in, then maybe we could actually make a change. Yes, sir, but you know how he feels about us. When you made him the invitation to join with the Thunderbolts, he outright refused, and I doubt that there's anything that you can do to change his mind. Actually, Ross would say with a smile, I'm not so sure about that. Has his condition gotten any better? No, sir. Last we checked, his timetable still remains the same. If he continues the way he is now, he'll be dead in the next 2 years. I see then, Thaddeus Ross would say. I've been keeping this on the wraps for a while now. I didn't want to have all of Congress on my ass. But I think now is the time. The time for what, Mr. President? I'm looking to reinstitute Project A-Bomb. Doc Sampson would look at the president with an ire of concern. Sir, with all due respect, Project A-Bomb was shut down for a reason. I get that we are in trying times, but do you really think that that is the best solution? Especially after everything that happened with Banner. Do you really want to besmirch the man's legacy by dredging that thing back to light? You know me better than anyone. I have great respect for Banner and for what he did for the cause. But I can't help but think it's my fault that we're in this mess. I'm the one that brought in Yujiro Hanma. It's my fault that the Project Gamma went awry. I have to find a way to fix it. Sir, if this goes south, you will be removed from office in disgrace. And from that point forward, we don't know what the state of the world will be. You're right. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen. But I want to keep all of my options open. And I do have some faith in Baki. But not entirely. I put all of my trust in a Hanma once before, and I got burned. So I won't be making that same mistake again. For now, we'll allow things to play out. But I want to keep things all in the clear. And if necessary, we will move forward with Project A-Bomb. In one fell swoop, we will annihilate Yujiro. And if necessary, all of those within the Hanma bloodline. So you mean Jack and Baki as well? It will have to be for the greater good. At least for the United States of America. I will not allow for this country to be beholden to the whims of a man-child or his offspring. One way or another. And I swear on the grave of my wife and daughter. Thaddeus said with a serious look. I will kill Yujiro Hanma. I promise you. With God as my witness, I will kill that bastard. I understand, sir. But tread lightly. Both men would nod as they set themselves to return to the office. There was still much work that needed to be done in this world of monsters. More often than not, you had to become the very thing you swore to destroy, selling your soul to defeat your enemy. But was there a price that was too high to pay? That only time would tell. This concludes Baki, the Immortal Grappler. What if Baki was the Hulk? Season 1, Part 6. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. And stay tuned tomorrow as we continue with Baki the Immortal Grappler. What if Baki was the Hulk? Season 1, Part 7. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.